The Bible verse this week is 1 Samuel 12:20. It says, serve the Lord with all your heart. Now, I want you to do this loud and proud with me, and we're going to be doing this with motion, so follow along, okay? Serve the Lord with all your heart. 1 Samuel 12:20. That was awesome, guys. Let's do it one more time, a little bit louder this time. All right. Serve the Lord with all your heart. 1 Samuel 12:20. That was awesome, guys. Now that we know our Bible verse, it's time to listen to our Bible story today. Come on, guys.
Hi, Creek Kids. Oh my goodness. I was just reading our Bible story today. It's amazing. Do you remember last week we talked about Joseph and how his mean old brothers threw him in a pit? And then they changed their mind and they sold him to a bunch of travelers going to Egypt. Do you remember? They ripped up his coat and they told his daddy that he had died. But we know Joseph didn't die because Joseph, he loved God and God had a great plan for his life. Well, Joseph went on to Egypt, and before he knew it, he found himself in prison. It was terrible, but while he was there, he prayed, he trusted God. His faith was great, big, huge. He knew God was with him, and he didn't doubt it. One day, he heard a man talking about a dream. This man had a very special job at Pharaoh's castle. His job was to taste the juice that Pharaoh would drink and make sure it hadn't been poisoned. Well, the man was telling his dream to Joseph, and God gave Joseph an amazing gift. The gift of understanding a dream and telling the person what it means. Well, Joseph told the man, he said, this is what the Lord says. In 3 days, you're going to go back to work for Pharaoh. The man was so excited, and 3 days later, he was leaving, and Joseph said, please remember me and tell Pharaoh about me. Well, the man got back to work, and he was busy, and he kind of forgot about Joseph. And Joseph just stayed in prison, waiting for God to do something amazing. Well, one day, the Pharaoh had the weirdest dream, and it was bothering him. And his juice taster said to him, Pharaoh, I knew a man in prison who could listen to a dream and tell you what it meant. And the Pharaoh said, go and get that guy. So they brought Joseph from prison, and this was the Pharaoh's dream. Pharaoh said, I had 2 strange dreams. In one dream, there were 7 big, heavy, beautiful, chubby cows and 7 little sickly, skinny, scrawny cows. And those 7 yucky cows, the sick ones, they ate up the big, chubby ones. And then Pharaoh said in my other dream, there were 7 big, beautiful, healthy plants, and then nearby were 7 sickly plants that were all crunchy and brown and withered. And those sick plants ate the healthy plants. He said, Joseph, what does this mean? And God explained to Joseph exactly what it meant. Joseph said, for the next 7 years, there's going to be so much food. We need to plant as many crops as we can, harvest, replant, and we have to gather all of the food, build barns, and keep that food. Because after the 7 years, there's going to be a famine. And a famine means there's not enough food to eat. There's not going to be any rain. The sun's going to be too hot. It's going to dry everything out. And we will have barns full of food that we can eat. And we can save other nations, other countries. They can come and buy food from us. The Pharaoh was so grateful, so thankful to Joseph that he gave Joseph the best job in the kingdom. Joseph became the Pharaoh's #1 helper. Wow! God had a really cool plan for Joseph, didn't he? Well, do you remember how Joseph, when he lived at home with his dad and his 11 brothers, he had a dream where he was a big bundle of wheat, and the 11 brothers were all bowing down to him as bundles of wheat. Remember, it made the brothers really mad? Well, that was a dream from God. Listen to what's going to happen. One day, during the 7 years of famine, when there was no food, the brothers came to Egypt. They stood before Joseph, their brother. They did not know who he was. He looked like a man from Egypt. He had Egyptian clothes on. He learned a different language. They stood before him and they all bowed down, just like Joseph's dream. Joseph looked at his brothers and his heart was so sad for what they had done to him, but it was so happy. He was so happy to see his brothers. The Bible tells us Joseph had to leave the room and go and cry. He was excited to see his brothers, but he wasn't quite ready to tell them who he was. In his heart, Joseph forgave his brothers for doing what they did because he knew that God used something bad for God's glory and God's goodness. Joseph went back, he sat down, and he gave his brothers lots of food to take home to their father and to their youngest brother, Benjamin. Boys and girls, I love how Joseph forgave his brothers. He didn't have to, did he? No, he chose to forgive because God wants us to forgive one another. God's plan is perfect, and we don't always understand it, do we? But Joseph,
doing so good.
I like to say he leaned into God, he trusted him, and God blessed Joseph and all of his brothers and his dad, and they did not get sick and they did not starve during the 7-year famine. God is really, really good, isn't he? Boys and girls, I hope you'll be right back here next week at Creek Kids.
Thank you guys for popping by and seeing us this week. I just loved that we talked about how Joseph, even though his brothers were so mean and treated him so poorly, ended up showing him God's love and grace. What a great story that was this week. And you guys, I hope y'all pop by next week. Have a good one, y'all.